Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome to the first live stream on the Designed by Fan 500 FC channel. There might not be, you might not be able to see anything right now, but I do have lots of pieces of paper on this desk where for the last, I'd say maybe an hour or at least 30 minutes, I've cut out pieces of paper and I have put them in the order that they will be for the Champions League qualifiers. So let's start off with the preliminary rounds. The seeded teams will be Montenegrin champion, Budućnost Podgorica. I even put the FIFA code. I don't know if you could see. And then the Icelandic leader, Breiðablik Kópavogur. So we're just going to draw them first for the team that goes up first. There's not enough. So, all right, the first match will consist of Budućnost Podgorica, Breiðablik second, and then the other two are Andorran leaders, Athletic Club de Bilbao, and San Marinese leaders, Trepin. That's actually three San Marinese teams that have won the San Marinese League 3 times, 2 different seasons in a row. And the one that will play Budućnost Podgorica is Trepin. And then Andorra's Athletic Club de Bilbao, playing Breiðablik. So this is the part where I get to predict. Let's go down here. So this is Budućnost versus Trepin and Breiðablik versus Athletic Club de Bilbao. For Budućnost versus Trepin, I'm going to say Budućnost wins. That's what we're going to do with Trepin. Well, they'd go down to the Conference League in real life, but I didn't do that much. So we're just going to put it there. Put it behind the computer. And the Breiðablik versus Athletic Club, obviously Breiðablik. And then Breiðablik versus Budućnost Podgorica in the final. I'm going to say Breiðablik win that. That would be 2 back-to-back Icelandic preliminary round wins. So they'll go into the unseeded sides for the first round draw. Let's get the first round draw underway. This is the seeded teams. The teams will play their first leg at home. Slovenian leader, Olimpija Ljubljana. The next team, Bosnian leader, Zrinjski Mostar. The next team, I actually got 2, so we're going to go like that. There is the Welsh leader, the New Saints. And we have Finnish leader, HJK Helsinki. Next match will consist of, we got 2. We got Slovakian leader, Slovan Bratislava. And the Azerbaijan leaders, Karabag. We still got a couple more to go. We got Bulgarian champion. I did not write down the FIFA code for Ludogorets Razgrad, but FIFA code is BUL. And Shamrock Rovers, Irish leader. Next, we got 3 this time. So we got Israeli leader. It's pretty small. Maccabi Haifa. I don't know if you could see that based off the lighting and everything. We have Belarusian leader. They're in the seeded pot 1. Bate Borisov. And we've got Kazakh leader, Astana. And the last 3, I'm just going to leave this. French Photo C, Hungarian leaders, Sheriff, Moldovan leaders, and lastly, Žalgiris, the Lithuanian leaders. Let's just get into pot 2 straight off right there. So against Olimpija Ljubljana will be Maltese leader, Hamrun Spartans. So we'll see how that goes. I will be excited. I hope these are actually the real matches because so far they're really pretty cool. Actually, the preliminary round draw is tomorrow. Swift Hair Spain, leader of the Luxembourg League. The Welsh leader, the New Saints, they'll be going up against Kosovar leaders, Balkani. And against HJK, we got Armenian leader, Urartu FC, who won just a couple days ago, actually. Eskilstuna Bratislava will be going up against Larna. And Karabag will be going up against Breiðablik Kópavogur. That's an interesting match. Against Ludogorets Razgrad, we got 2 here. So we have the Romanian leader, Farul Constanța, and up against Shamrock Rovers, Polish leader, Rako Švečova. Israeli leaders Maccabi Haifa are going up against Druga of Macedonia. Beit Borisov of Belarus up against Partizani of Albania. That is a low-quality matchup. So whoever wins that will be very happy that they're at least in Europa League qualifiers. Gibraltar leader, Lincoln Red Imps, up against Astana. We got Dinamo Tbilisi of Georgia. And I believe that's all of the nations that have not had a team make Europe yet. Actually, we completed off now. Keflavik of Faroe Islands against Sheriff. And we have Valmiera of Latvia. Now, I think I made a mistake because I have Häcken still left. I'm just going to quickly go check here since nobody is watching. Nobody will see this screw up unless they watch back. Ferencvárosi, Karabakh, Slovan Bratislava, Ludogorets Razgrad, Sheriff Tiraspol. Häcken, yes. They are a pot 2 team. Astana and Haifa, Žalgiris and HJK. Yeah. Fiora and Shamrock. I do not have Fiora. That's it. I do not have Fiora Tallinn. Luckily, somehow there were 2 pieces left. So let's write this down. Fiora Tallinn of Estonia, EST, up against Häcken. Now let's make the predictions. This is going to be interesting. So we got Olympia Ljubljana versus Hamelin. I'm definitely saying Ljubljana make it to the second qualification round. Hamelin Spartans to the conference qualifiers. Zrinjski Mostar and Swift Harspenge. I'll go for Zrinjski on this one, but that is a tough one. The New Saints and Balkani, also a pretty tough one to say, but I'm going to say Balkani. HJK versus Uratu. HJK all the way. SK Slovan Bratislava versus Larna. Slovan Bratislava wins that. And Karabakh versus Breiðablik. I'd like to say Breiðablik. I would love to go with my heart and say Breiðablik, but do I go with my head or my heart? This is a hard one. Screw it. Breiðablik. Second qualification round. That might have been a stupid decision, but we'll see. Ludogorets Razgrad and Farul. Obviously Ludogorets. Shamrock and Rako Švečova. I'm saying Rako Švečova. I'm surprised they're an unseeded. They should be a seeded member. Maccabi Haifa and Struga, definitely Haifa. We saw Champions League last season. Beit Borisov and Partizani. Tough, but I'll go for Partizani on this one. Astana and Lincoln Red Imps, obviously Astana. Ferencvárosi and Dinamo Tbilisi. Georgia are actually one of 10 nations in European history to not have a team make Europe. The other ones were Iceland, Faroe Islands, Northern Ireland, Wales, Andorra, San Marino, Malta, Bosnia, Montenegro, and there was one more. It was Georgia. Yeah. So I'll go for Ferencvárosi on that one. Sorry, Dinamo Tbilisi. Sheriff and Key. Going for Sheriff here as well on this one. Žalgiris and Valmiera. That is a close matchup. Anyone can win that. Valmiera were not expected to win. So I'm saying they will against Žalgiris. They weighed pretty far last season. Fiora Tallinn and Häcken. I'm going for Häcken. All right. So now we have to go back to the tab because it has some very specific ways on how the seedings work. So I'm pretty sure this is pot 2. All right. So we have Dinamo Zagreb. I'll push these away. Copenhagen, Galatasaray, and Molde are seeded in Arslanima Shoal. Cypriot leaders are not. So that's what we're going to do. The winners of the match involving Ferencvarosi did win that against Karabakh. That would be a pot 1 team. Breidablik, Kupavuga. Slovan Bratislava, well, I predicted Slovan Bratislava. With Ludogorets Razgrad, it was Ludogorets Razgrad. Shout to the spool. And against Bate, I did say Partizani, and then everyone else is League 2. Winning with Astana, Maccabi Haifa, Zalgiris, I predicted Valmiera, HJK. Fiora, I predicted Hacken. For Shamrock Rovers, I predicted Rakosh. For the New Saints, I did predict, I think, Okami, but yeah, whatever. Olympia, Ljubljana, and Zrinjski Mostar. And now here comes the league path, where we have seeded teams, Genk and Dnipro, and the unseeded teams, Panathinaikos and Servette Geneva. Let's get these ones done. So it's going to be just like the preliminary rounds. So Genk is the first seeded team, and Dnipro behind them. And then to play Genk, Panathinaikos. Servette Geneva to play Dnipro. So who's going to be that first seeded kind of pot 1 there? We got 2, so we're going to have Sheriff Tiraspol be the first. A reminder, the winners of this competition, the winner of the second qualification round, does make it into Europe. And the reason why that is because when you make it to the third qualification round, if you win both the fourth, if you win in the third and the fourth, you're in the Champions League. But if you lose both the third and the Europa League playoff round, you're in the Conference League. And if you win the third and then win the playoff round, if you lose the third but win the playoff round, then you're in the Europa League. But if you win the third and then lose in the fourth, Europa League. There it is. So Partizani are there. The next one. We could have small teams be seeded just because of the way it is, but it's unlikely. We got Slovan Bratislava from Slovakia. We also have Breidablik. Now this is big because we'll get this done when this is all over with. But for Iceland and Bosnia, I predicted the team to make it this far. If they win and get into the third qualification round, they'd be knocked off the list of nations to never have a team make it to Europe. I may make a long-form video on that. Ferencvarosi of Hungary. And then we have Ludogorets Razgrad from Bulgaria. And to finish off the seeded members, we got Molde from Norway. We have Galatasaray from Turkey. And then we have Copenhagen from Denmark. And Dinamo Zagreb from Croatia. Now to play Sheriff Tiraspol, it is Olympia Ljubljana. That is a really intense matchup, and I'm excited to see who would win that. Because Ljubljana, they haven't made it to Europe, and if they have, it was a long time ago. Balkani. They made it to Europe last season, Conference League, and they're playing Partizani. Albania have had, I think, 1 or 2 teams make it. Skendablu made the Europa League a couple years ago. I think that's it, though. HJK from Finland against Slovan Bratislava. What a match. To play Breidablik, this is like the moment of truth for Iceland. And they get screwed over. Rakosh Ferencvarosi. They got Zrinjski Mostar. Bosnia might have a chance there, but we'll see how my predictions shake everything up. Haken against Ludogorets Razgrad. Haken have never made it to Europe, and I think that maybe they once did a long time ago. Haifa of Israel to play Molde. Galatasaray to play Astana. All right. Kazakhstan haven't had a team make it since Kairat in the Conference League 2 seasons ago. Take Copenhagen, Arish Limassol of Cyprus. And then to play Dinamo Zagreb, the last remaining Valmiera. When I talk about these teams that countries that haven't made Europe, Gibraltar had one. Luxembourg had one. Liechtenstein had one. Even Macedonia had one. All these tiny leagues did, but Bosnia never had one. Or, I mean, that's a pretty big one. I think that's the really only big one. The other ones, Andorra, San Marino. Teams you'd expect. My predictions, will start off with the league path. Genk versus Panathinaikos. Genk. That's easy, Genk. And Dnipro versus Servette. I'm actually going for an underdog. Servette Geneva makes it into Europe for the first time in a long time, or maybe first time ever. Sheriff versus Olympia Ljubljana. Making it to Europe, Olympia Ljubljana. I'm sorry, Sheriff. You're good. You're good. Olympia Sheriff Tiraspol. But I think Olympia Ljubljana are just going to have this amazing preseason. Partizani versus Balkani. This is one that is absolutely really hard to decide. I'm going to say Balkani. I'm going to say Albania do get the short end of the stick. Slovan Bratislava versus HJK. That is tough. But I'm going to say Slovan Bratislava. Breda Black Kubevuga and Rakos Fečvoa. Sorry, Breda Black. Sorry. Maybe you could do something in the Conference League, Europa League. Ferencvárosi and Zrinski Mostar. That's obviously Ferencvárosi. Ludogorets and Haken. I'll say Ludogorets. They make it to Europe. Molde versus Haifa. I'll say Molde wins that. Galatasaray and Astana. Astana haven't made it into Europe for, I think, 4 seasons now. They're going to try and get back, and I do think they'll fail to Galatasaray, but they'll probably have something there in the Europa League. Kubenhaven and Arash Limassol. Copenhagen all day. Zagreb and Valmiera. Dinamo Zagreb. And now let's go back to that tab because we got more stuff for the third qualification round. So the winner of the match involving Dinamo Zagreb, Copenhagen, and Galatasaray all are pot 1. And then these new teams who won, so they're in Europe, automatically are Greek winners, AEK Athens, and Sparta Prague from Czechia. For the league path, we have Genk and Servette Geneva both being in the unseeded pile, while we have Rangers of Scotland, Braga, Portugal, PSV Eindhoven of Netherlands, and Marseille, France, all seeded. And then these new teams, Akatapola, who haven't made it to Europe before, they're doing it now, and Sturm Graz of Austria being unseeded. So now what do we do with these 7 second qualification round teams? I'm just going to say whichever one I pick goes wherever it goes. So pot 2, Balkani, I mean, that makes sense. I would say that makes sense. Pot 1, the seeded. One of them fell. I'll go for the unseeded. Now, Ludogorets are as grad for seeded. All right, makes sense. And the one that fell for the unseeded, Olympia Ljubljana. All right, so far it's not completely random. Molde seeded. I mean, that makes sense. Rakos Fečvoa unseeded. I mean, they're unseeded in the first round. Ferencvárosi seeded. Slovan Bratislava is not seeded. All right, so I guess we'll start off with the league path. So who's going to be that first seeded team? PSV Eindhoven is. The next one, Marseille, France. We haven't had 3 teams in the Champions League from France, I think, in 2 seasons now. So we got Braga, Portugal. If they really suck, they can make it to the Conference League. Be Portugal's first team there, but unlikely. Rangers of Scotland. PSV of the Netherlands, they'll go up against, there's 2 here, so we're going to be careful. Servette Geneva, not good for the Swiss side, not good. But Marseille gets Genk. All right, Marseille gets Genk. Braga, get back at Pola. All right, that secures them 4th round, but I shouldn't spoil anything. Sturm Graz against Rangers. I think that match has happened a couple times before. Now let's get into the epically insane stuff, I'd say, the main channel. Let's get into the third qualification round draw, the Champions Path. We got Galatasaray. The next one, we got two here. We got Dynamo Zagreb. And then we have Molde. We also have now Kubenhaven. And then Ferencvárosi, which means Ludogorets Razgrad will be the last team there. Up against Galatasaray. It's going to be Slovan Bratislava. Against Dinamo Zagreb, Olympia Ljubljana. So we got a Balkan matchup to decide who's going there. Sparta Praga of Czechia going against Molde. Then we got Balkani against Copenhagen. Against Ferencvárosi, it is Rako Švečkova. Against Ludogorets Razgrad, Reek, AEK Athens. All right, so let's predict the league path here. PSV versus Red Geneva. Obviously, PSV, they're going to make it to the fourth qualification round. Marseille Genk, Marseille. Braga versus Backa Topola. Obviously, Braga. And Rangers versus Sturm Graz isn't so obvious. I'm going to say Sturm Graz. I'm sorry, Rangers. Okay, league path here. Galatasaray and Slovan Bratislava. Let's switch things up. Slovan Bratislava make it to the fourth qualification round. They're going to steal this show. Slovan Bratislava are one of 5 teams to make it to the Conference League 2 seasons in a row. No, there's only been 2 seasons. They made it 2 seasons out of the 2 seasons possible. The other 4 teams, Slavia Praga, AZ Alkmaar, CFR Cluj, and FC Basel, all have a chance to make the Conference League via Conference League qualifiers. And if Slovan Bratislava do make it further than the third qualification round, they would not be in conference for a 3rd season of the series that I'm going to continue. Dinamo Zagreb versus Olympia Ljubljana. Dinamo Zagreb. Molde versus Sparta Praga. Molde. I'll go for Molde. Copenhagen and Balkani. Copenhagen has to go to Copenhagen. I'm sorry, Balkani. I'm sorry. Will you make it to a 2nd straight season of the Conference League? Maybe Ferencvárosi and Rako Švečkova. Let's go for the under. I'll go Rako Švečkova. Ludogorets and AEK Athens. I'll go for AEK Athens. All right. For the league path, I don't think we get any new ones. Yeah, we don't get any new ones. So the winner involving Rangers, Sturm Graz, and Braga will be seeded and unseeded. Let me pick that up. Unseeded will be PSV Eindhoven and Marseille. Young Boys and Royal Antwerp. All right, they come in as champions. Young Boys will come in as a seeded, and Royal Antwerp will come in as an unseeded. So we need more seeded and unseeded. We'll do the same thing we did last time. So seeded, that was a grab, not bad. Unseeded, AEK Athens. All right, so far again making sense. Seeded, Molde, maybe could have been unseeded, but whatever. And Rako Švečkova again unseeded. They got something against the Polish side. Slovan Bratislava seeded, Copenhagen unseeded. But first off, who's going to make it as a seeded in the league path? Sturm Graz first and Braga second. To play Sturm Graz, it's PSV Eindhoven. That's an interesting match. Marseille versus Braga. Seeded. We got Slovan Bratislava. What a way they've had to come here. Dynamo Zagreb. Molde. And Young Boys. And to play them each, Belgian team Royal Antwerp will play Slovan Bratislava. Against Dynamo Zagreb, AEK Athens. Against Molde, Rako Švečkova. And against Young Boys, it's Copenhagen. Only 2 teams here have made it since the first qualification round. Slovan Bratislava and Rakoš Večeřova. And usually, this normally happens, none of them are from the preliminary rounds. I don't think that's ever happened. Slovan Bratislava versus Antwerp. Okay, to make it into the Champions League group stage, I'm gonna say Slovan Bratislava now. All right, Antwerp's gone. Dinamo Zagreb and AEK Athens. Dinamo Zagreb. Slovan Bratislava and Dinamo Zagreb already have made it in. Molde and Rakoš Večeřova. The success story or Molde? Success story. Sorry, Molde, you're gone. Young Boys and Copenhagen. Young Boys make it in. Who's going to make it in from the league path? PSV. And then Braga versus Marseille. Let's mix it up because I know you could see Marseille from there. Braga. So the teams that I think will make it from the qualification round: Slovan Bratislava, Dinamo Zagreb, Rakoš Večeřova, Young Boys, PSV Eindhoven, and FC Braga. So for the group stage, I haven't gone that far ahead. I mean, the title suggests only the qualification rounds. But pot 1 would be City, Sevilla, Barcelona, Napoli, Bayern, and PSG, Benfica, and Feyenoord. Pot 2 would consist of Real Madrid, which is not good for them at all, Manchester United, Inter Milan, Borussia Dortmund, Atletico Madrid, Leipzig, Porto, and Arsenal. I don't know why I said it like that. Pot 3 will be Shakhtar, Red Bull Salzburg, AC Milan, Lazio, and Crvena Zvezda. That is confirmed. But the other 3 are either going to be Sociedad, Celtic, Newcastle, or 3 of these teams that we've just picked. Or it could be a mix of them, you know. And pot 4 will be Union Berlin, Lens, and then the other teams that we haven't picked. Or it could be Sociedad, Celtic, and Newcastle. They could also be in there as well. So thank you guys so much for watching, even though there's nobody currently watching the stream. Thank you for watching, I guess. If you're watching this in the future, I'm going to end the live stream here. Peace.